Dear delegates, moving on to our last panel discussion for the day, Advancing Security with Emerging Technologies. Let's welcome our contributors. Like always, let me start by introducing our eminent moderator, Mr. Faheem Ali, expert financial inclusion, FinTech and digital transformation, Musoni. Ms. Massa Weeks, CEO, Girls in Tech, Liberia. Mr. Ibrahim Gathungu, Head Information, Cybersecurity, Policy Regulation, Standard Chartered Bank. Mr. Anthony Samir, Head of Cybersecurity Unit, Ministry of Health and Population. Ms. Alice Blazevic, Partner, Head of Tech and Innovations, Katende, Ssempebwa and CO Advocate. Mr. Zechariah Akinpelu, Chief Information Security Office, Unity Bank. I now hand this over to Mr. Faheem to start the panel discussion on advancing security with emerging technologies.
Thank you so much. It's really a pleasure to connect with the audience again. We had this session also before with cloud security with West Africa in 2021. It was a really great session on last time, and I'm sure you all are also enjoying so far with the session. So I would like to kick a start, and definitely, as you heard, that the topic is advancing security with emerging technology, and advancing security is always, very important for any transformation or any rapid digital transformation which you do. The cloud is really moving, and the move of the cloud, distributions of the workplace, and again, the mean of the standard security controls are not effective as it was in the past. So definitely we need to learn the new terms like, confidential computing, like decentralized identity, passwordless authentication, secured access services age, and again, the digital risk protection services, and how we can protect so on, with our institution. Please keep typing your questions in the chat box. I'm looking the chat box very keenly. Please type the questions, whichever questions you want to ask. The topic is advancing security with emerging, technologies, and we will, post these questions to the panelists. So I request my panelists, maybe they give, 30 seconds or 1 minute each to introduce themselves. Maybe again, their background and what kind of information they will share in today's topic. So I start first with Alice.
Hello. Yes, thank you, Faheem. I'm Alice Namuli Blazevic. I'm a partner with the law firm in Uganda. I head the tech and innovation department. I specialize in data protection and cybersecurity, representing large business companies or tech companies in Africa, but with a global presence. Very pleased to be here.
Thank you, Alice. Massa?
Yeah, thank you. My name is Massa Weeks from Liberia, West Africa. I am a passionate Liberian with a BSc degree in information technology from Valley View University, Ghana. I also hold an MSc degree in software engineering from Obafemi Awolowo University, Nigeria. Currently, I am the Deputy IT Director at the Ministry of Gender, Children, and Social Protection, and the founder and CEO of Girls in Technology Liberia, which work to reduce the gender gap and encourage women and girls to embrace technology through website development, training them on coding, computer application, and many more. Thank you.
Thank you. That's the very beautiful, your designations and also your work. We are very impressed. Ibrahim?
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Faheem, for moderating. My name is Ibrahim Gathungu. I am a Kenyan actually living in the UK, working in Standard Chartered Bank. So I currently head up about 50 countries looking at regulatory alignment to our group policy. So basically looking at how we can continue to advance our maturity of our controls and how that is passed on to our customers across all the different regions. My background is consulting. I think I've worked in consulting for about 13 years. Now in banking for the last three years or so. In terms of education, schooled in United States International University with a technical degree in information systems and technology. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ibrahim. It's really great, impressive. Anthony.
Hello, Mr. Faheem. Hello, everyone. This is Samir. I'm working now as a head of cybersecurity unit in the Ministry of Health and Population in Egypt. Also, I joined many projects and designated in many tasks related to digital transformation and mega projects here in Egypt. And as well building as a new public safety standards here in Egypt as well.
Thank you so much, Samir. Zechariah.
Okay. So my name is Zechariah Akinpelu. I'm currently the Chief Information Security Officer for Unity Bank, Nigeria. So before Unity Bank, I've worked in various organizations. I started as a software developer and later on dive into cybersecurity. I've done a lot of stuff. I've done application security penetration testing. I've engaged in different bug bounty programs and also ethical hacking competition. So on 2 different occasions, I was the only African awarded as a certified ethical hacker in the year 2016 with TC Council. And last year, I was one of the awardees for the Ssempebwa ethical hacking Hall of Fame. And in my spare time, I work with the various body of knowledge, cybersecurity body of knowledge as an examiner. I'm currently an examiner with TC Council, examiner with certified ethical hacker, examiner with certified network defender, and examiner with the CISO certification, and also currently working with ISACA International on the certified data privacy security engineering certifications. I'm one of the moderators and the coordinator for the certification. So in my spare time, I like to be engaged in this kind of a conference. I've had the opportunity to engage in different technical workshops across Africa, Europe, and the United States. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. Pleasure again having all of you here with us. So I want to pose first question to Alice maybe. And my question, before I pose that question, I also request all the audience to please keep posting your questions in the chat box or in the questions area. And we can ask these questions also from the panelists. So Alice, I want to ask you first question, which is again very important. With your experience as an head tech and innovation, and also partner, what new cybersecurity trends you are seeing, and what are the banks or financial institutions are doing to address these risks? So what do you think?
Yeah, I guess let me restrict myself to the financial sector. What we see mainly pretty much on the continent, most of the cyber crime related threats are in regard to data breaches, customer identity theft, that is for strictly the financial sector, fraudulent money transfers. And most of these attacks are usually identified in 4 different ways. The most common one is, of course, malware, ransom, which is a very, very common on the continent. And you find big financial institutions have suffered a lot of loss due to this kind of malware and ransom. And then we also have, of course, the different scams. These are engineered by the different, cyber hackers around the world. And most of actually the hacks that have taken place, like for example, in Uganda, East Africa, you find that they're off actually the continent. Most of them we have experienced from Russia and China. That is strictly within East Africa. And then what is also has become also very common in the financial sector is that very few of these attacks have been or data breaches have been reported, because it turns out that every time a financial bank or entity reports this kind of attacks, they suffer some kind of PR, and most of their customers end up actually migrating and moving to other financial institutions. So what has happened in the past is that rather recently is that they're just never reported. And even when they're reported, rather the second reason why they're never reported is that the cost of following up or prosecuting these cases is extremely high. So you find that it has become, even though you invest so much money in carrying out these investigations, is usually in vain. What could financial institutions do, or what are financial institutions doing right now? Most institutions are introducing multi-factor authentications or two-factor authentication. In Uganda, very few banks are using multi-factor authentication. So you have at least some kind of like two devices where you're at least able to authenticate a password. Otherwise, this is like the most common platform which these cyber criminals usually use when they're able to access people's passwords or customers' passwords. The other what I call it, something that is actually has become also very common is banks adopting big data analytics, machine learning, and AI. And they're using these emerging technologies to try as much as possible to manage the risk that, of course, definitely they're facing and the vulnerabilities they're facing. This has the risks we note that have increased in the last, I think, 2 years because of course, the pandemic and COVID. But because now we have all these like emerging technologies, we find that many of the banks in Africa, I would say specifically in East Africa, are adopting the use of what they call it, specifically machine learning and AI. And all this is used in, I'll stop at that.
Okay, thank you so much. Really good feedback that how the new trends are really moving on in this new market. Ibrahim, CISOs, right now the industry says that if you hire CISOs, you should never face any cyber attack because CISO is there. He will protect us. So what is the biggest or greatest concerns as a CISO is facing in this cybersecurity in 2022 or beyond? And how, as a CISOs, we all should strategize to minimize them? Not only having CISOs that you will not face any risk, but also the strategies to minimize them. Ibrahim.
That's okay. Thanks so much. I think I'll give sort of a generic response because for CISOs across, first of all, I'm not a CISO yet, but I'll talk about it from just my general knowledge of the industry and what's happening. So I think one of the biggest current threats is quantum computing, right? Because if you look at cloud and some of the advancements within technology at the moment with blockchain and so on, there's aggregated computing power that is available to people now that provides sort of that future threat that things like encryption can be broken easily. At the moment, it's still conceptual. However, because of how quickly we've turned around, the amount of time that it takes to break passwords in the last, let's say, 2 to 3 years, versus how long it took in the last 20 years, there's that trajectory which is almost exponential that is actually currently going on. But on the flip side, the opportunity that it brings to the financial sector is immense, because you have things like Monte Carlo simulation that you can do with quantum computing, where you can do forecasting easily, and you can adopt things like machine learning better. But on the flip side, that is always going to be traded off with sort of a security threat, and making sure that there's dynamic management of cybersecurity. So I think the biggest strategy that CISOs need to have is having a very clear strategy, engaging their stakeholders quite early in partnering with them on maturing their their control environment. And by looking at dynamic risk management, the reason why I call it dynamic risk management is because you set an appetite within any institution. Your risk appetite determines what decisions you make in terms of investment. But overall, as a trusted business partner to the stakeholders within the functions and those who are serving your customers, you need to have that forward look to say, I need to be very agile in the way that I make those decisions. As somebody who's in senior management, then looking also at digital agility, because the business will always want to innovate, but you as a CISO need to be at the forefront of providing the information to those to providers within the business to make sure that transformation continues, and that you're providing sort of cybersecurity risk insights that help them to make informed decisions. At the end of the day, those individuals are not SMEs, they are not subject matter experts, but they rely on somebody who's at the top there to provide those insights to them. So from a cloud perspective, whether that is looking at the underlying infrastructure, multi-tenancy environments that we have for customers and serving customers, looking at the risks for them as third parties to the organization, and remembering that the responsibility for information protection still should be retained within the organization, should not be passed on to your third party 100%. Then finally, just value creation. Looking at opportunities to innovate and to partner with the business in innovation, because that's really what they want. They want to focus on being, at the top of the customers' minds when it comes to the products, and also the security of their customers in their minds. So a CISO has to be able to sort of look at that business value and realizing that value, creating that value to the business, and those opportunities where they can manage the risk to a tolerable level, so that customer journey is quite satisfying to the external customers. Thanks.
Great. Thank you so much, Ibrahim. It was a really great response. Massa, I want to ask again, connecting the same what Ibrahim also said, and though we all are Gen Z, but you are more from generation Z. So I want to ask that question from you, that as the technology trends are going on and cybersecurity, cyber risk is again approaching also. So how, as in collectively, individually, we should approach in managing that risk, and to understand our generation Z, that how we can manage these trends from the cyber risk point of view. So what do you think?
Okay, I would say, that robust security, cybersecurity action needs to be taken now, because technology transformation relies on connectivity, artificial intelligence, computing, and the next generation approaches to security community management. Secondly, I will say the industry and government leaders must drive a set policy actions that will take up security solutions. So the role of the government is to provide safe and secure cyberspace in the country through policies and recommendations in future. So finally, the intervention from the international community are required to ensure the principle of openness, transparency, and accountability in the global data and digital services. Thank you.
Thank you, Massa. This was a really great response. Connecting the same, Samir, what Massa said, that the risk which we need to manage is really important. And once you actually consider any new technology, and definitely you need to consider, because without new technology you cannot survive. You will be outdated. And once you have these new technologies, new applications, you have the basic kind of native securities which is integrated with this. Do you think that this native securities which is integrated are good enough, or we need to think further, one step ahead with this selection of the securities which we are doing? Samir, what do you think?
Me as a 71 from the IT experts, preferring, of course, having the best on prep from multiple or hyper technologies to secure their applications. Being a native can be good if you're having a small business or you having a small project that you are working on. But when we are talking about enterprise or critical applications, then you have to improve your security. There are no one vendor can provide you with all solutions that you can need or cover all risks from their perspectives. So you have to build a team who can deal with different technologies, understanding them, and of course, knowing how to connect these applications together to get the best solution and the best way to protect the data or their applications. That's why it's very good for enterprise article. However, it will be very hard for small size companies to cover this.
Great, thank you so much, Samir, and it was a really on-spot, answer on the question, and well understood also. Zechariah, definitely the new emerging technologies are coming, and there is new threats are also there. Every day we face, number of issues. It says actually every minute or every second, the financial institutions are being hit by the cyber crimes or the cyber threats. So these are on rise. Definitely says that it will be more, as you see the trend is actually going further higher month by month or even year to year. So what are the emerging cyber trends, technologies to watch out so that we manage them also well in our institutions? So what is your experience in this?
Okay, right. So thank you very much for that wonderful question. So based on my experience, and what is happening globally and what is also happening in the financial industry. So you can see that it's very easy for an attacker to steal people's password, either by sending a phishing email, either by phishing, or either by having a physical access. And based on my experience as an ethical hacker, as a penetration tester, password is no longer secure. Leveraging only on password to secure your access is no longer secure. Because any access that I have, if I have physical access, whether remote access, any asset that I can, any IT asset that I have access physically, it takes me less than a few seconds, few minutes to crack the password. And also, even for remote workers, it's very easy for somebody, for an attacker to launch an email and maybe phishing attack, maybe on the target administrator, and in less than a few seconds, a couple of administrators might fall to phishing attack. So, from the password point of view, so passwordless authentication is one of the technologies that we should look at for. Definitely, we have all the banks and especially West Africa, they try as much as possible not to leverage on password they know. So they are leveraging on technology that on solution that makes use of password technology like smart card, biometrics, tokens, maybe in addition to the user password. Then another technology that we should also look at for is confidential computing. As we all are aware of the privacy and the data security risk, it's very important that your data are encrypted, whether in transit, whether in storage, and all of that. So, but there are some people that will leverage, that will need to use this data at a point in time. So data can be compromised whether you encrypt the data or not while in use. So you should, a confidential computing solution take care, focus on how to secure data that is in use, data that has been decrypted. So confidential computing takes care of that. Then another solution that we also need to look at, watch out for, is secure access service edge. So this solution becomes popular actually during this recent pandemic, as different organizations see the reason why people need to log on to their organization from different point of view. And this kind of solution is SASE, to leverage on the different technology like cloud access secure broker, technology like next generation firewall technology, and so it takes care of the flexibility of being able to log on to your system anywhere at any time, and an ability to be able to do that in a very secure manner. Another solution that we should also look out for, we call it cyber physical system security. Cyber security system security will give you the of your information technology asset and operational technology. As we are all aware that we have more connected things. So yes, if the security of organization has gone beyond just the perimeter, because if you are looking at the perimeter alone, so because this is an era of perimeterless, so we should be looking at the security solutions that can take care that because in security, to me, visibility is very key. Because if you have the visibility of your critical asset, whether they're on the cloud, whether they are connected things, whether they are operational technology, so security should not just be focused on information technology alone. You should also be looking at connected things more so there's another solution that we call the digital risk protection services. But different vendors, different OEM, they have different terminology. So this solution addresses the data leakages and also has the capability to see what is going on the digital on the web and also on the dark web. So we are all familiar with what is happening on the surface web, internet, all have access to. So this solution, digital risk protection, gives you the visibility of what is happening, of where your company name is being mentioned. Maybe there is a threat of maybe a malicious user or some malicious attackers decide to leverage on maybe fake your application, maybe your mobile application, and such application is deployed on Google Store platform or iOS platform. So this solution, so some people want threat and solution, give you the visibility, and the solution can have the capability to do accounting. For example, if your mention maybe somebody create a fake social media for your company, and you can also deal with phishing scam. Instead of you to have different maybe a bucket of 10 solutions to address that. So with the digital risk protection services, you can address all your threats, without threat organization at different level. Thank you.
So great, Zechariah. It's a wonderful and detailed answer. And we really are learning, how, and you have actually created the steps that, what we need to do on that particular area. It's a wonderful answer. Because of the time, I would like to get your final remarks from each one of you. so that then we can conclude. So please give your final shot. Considering the time, please keep it, short. And maybe you can give what is the, advancing security which we should do. Definitely, in the upcoming new technologies which we are all facing. So what is your final thought? Starting from you, Alice.
Thanks a lot. For me, I just wanted actually to share information, like I think on the adoption of or the benefits of AI and machine learning, which has increasingly been adopted by the different institutions. I think this is definitely the way to go, because these technologies have made it very possible to learn about and analyze all these potential threats in real time. You understand it, and it has also reduced actually the costs of the institutions who are carrying out this kind of who are using rather the technologies, because before it used to take a lot of human beings, so many other human beings, and it takes so many days. But now in a matter of time, you can be able to easily detect any kind of fraud or data breaches, any anomalies in record time. So I just definitely think this is the future, and we should adopt, or institutions should be able to adopt these emerging technologies, as soon as possible in their system.
Yes. Great. Thank you so much, Alice. And over to you, Ibrahim.
Yeah, I think for me, to talk a little bit about remediation and making sure that people are very clear on just a working program that can be quite simple. There are a lot of guidances online that people can get, and but I just wanted to focus on a few areas, especially because we're talking about hybrid cloud and so on. So looking at data in transit protection, I think a lot of governments are coming up with data protection laws now, or across the world, following the reaction of GDPR. Operation resilience, I think there's a big move in the EU at the moment on operation resilience, making sure that companies can recover quite quickly after the large ransomware cycles that were experienced a while back, including cloud providers. And now, there's a move also towards, supply chain management and security to make sure that, you're not getting that external risk into your organization. And protecting sort of external interfaces, making sure that you have secure administration, auditing your users, using secure services and so on. And I really like, what my previous, I think speakers just mentioned, that we need to look at also innovation. I think Alice mentioned that we need to look at innovation, machine learning, and the opportunities that it can bring to institutions around, because that does present opportunities that you can partner with the business and actually make the customer experience for any services that you offer to your customers much better. So that's my parting shot for now. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Ibrahim. That's a wonderful message to all the audience. Massa, what do you think? What is your parting shot?
So, today technology is progressing faster than ever before. So I think data needs to be protected through the integration, policy, new technology. Yeah, so that's what I think.
Great, thank you so much, Massa. Yes, that's true. Samir, what is your final thought?
Well, as all my colleagues mentioned, all these wonderful technologies and techniques to protecting the network and the data, I want just to highlight that we need also to protect the end user, because it's the most weak part in our system. So giving them the right awareness and the right training is a good chance to protect our business from all the malicious attack, or phishing attacks that's targeting the end users. Also, we have to be planned. We have to get our plan. What will happen when the attacks happen? That's also a part that we need to be prepared for it, before happening. So when it happened, we know exactly what we do and when. I believe this is this is my opinion, what we need.
Great. Thank you so much, Samir. Wonderful thoughts. Zechariah, what do you think? Your final thoughts?
Okay, yeah, thank you. I think my colleagues have spoken well. So I also want to just collaborate what Alice mentioned on the machine learning, because we need to leverage on artificial intelligence and machine learning, especially whenever I want to do the protection. So one of the applications of machine learning is the user entity behavioral analytics. So user behavioral analytics is a model that look at the human behavior and machine within the network. For example, the modern anti-malware solution doesn't just leverage on the behavioral analysis alone. They look at they look beyond what a typical file can be. For example, if a particular file is trying to write to registry, whether the signature exists or not. So the modern system is supposed to know that, okay, this is not a normal behavior, this is an abnormal behavior. Or let's presume that an entity is subject, maybe an application or somebody log on, maybe an administrator that normally log on to system between Monday to Friday at the hours of 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Try to log on to the same system around 2 a.m. Maybe 2 a.m. on Saturday or Sunday in a different region. So this machine, so if you leverage on machine learning, because machine learning has the capability to register the behavior of human entities and the application. So if there's anything that goes beyond normal, so based on that behavioral pattern, so a user entity behavioral analytics has this capability to know, to differentiate a normal behavior and abnormal behavior. So I think it's high time that different OEM leverage on that user entity behavioral analytics. So many OEM have been doing so very good work, like the actually OEM on SIM, OEM on EDR, the extended detection response, and different OEM. They've been trying to do so many work, but I think we should leverage on those machine learning capability and on those artificial intelligence capability. One of those applications is user entity analytics. I hope that if we leverage on that, we could protect our nation better. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wonderful thoughts from all the panelists. Definitely, as the topic says, we really need to fight or flight. Change isn't always easy. As the new technology comes, the change always comes with that. Even though we all agree it is a part of the life, many of us perceive it as a lion-sized threat and then triggers out the fight to flight reaction. The digital age or the new technology will be always coming. They are not just about the transforming technologies, but it should be also transforming mindset with cyber resilience. That is the key point which we all need to go. Thank you again so much to all the panelists for sharing your thoughts. It was a really great industry experts who have shared their thoughts with the audience. Thank you, audience, for listening to all of us. Thank you again for the organizing this event, the organizers. You have really created this platform for all of us. We are all learning, the new things from this platform. Audience, stay tuned. Please connect to the organizers' LinkedIn or Twitter page. You will learn more things. You will learn also, the new upcoming sessions which you can join. And again, if you want to connect with the panelists or myself, please stay connected also with us on the LinkedIn. And you will learn also the new industry information so that you can stay ahead on this digital world. Thank you so much and look forward to meet you again. Back to you, host.
Thank you very much, Mr. Faheem, for wonderfully moderating the panel. And thank you, dear panelists, Ms. Alice, Mr. Zechariah, Mr. Anthony, Mr. Ibrahim, and Ms. Massa for sharing your valuable thoughts. We truly appreciate your presence here today. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
What
Thank
a
you.
wonderful and power-packed 2-day this has turned out to be. I'm sure we all have learned a lot from what we have heard today on the insights, trends, solutions, predictions, experiences, and what lies ahead. With this, dear audience, we have reached the end of an insightful and successful day of the Hybrid Cloud and Cybersecurity West Africa Summit 2022, themed as Driving the Digital Foundation to Expedite Innovation and Business Transformation at Scale. The entire team of TREC's event is thankful to our eminent guest of honor, Dr. Agu Collins, Director of Research and Development Department, National Information Technology Development Agency, our esteemed keynote speakers, eminent panelists, our prestigious summit sponsors, IBM Active Edge, Microsoft, SUSE, and Manage Engine. Last but not the least, I thank all our dear delegates for joining us today and yesterday in huge numbers and making the Hybrid Cloud and Cybersecurity West Africa Summit a grand success. Until next time, have a great evening and stay safe.
Stay safe. Bye for now, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.